Hi everyone, welcome to Tim's Vinyl Confession. Sarah's joining me again on this one. And this is a fun episode, and we've been talking about doing this type of thing, and we will be doing these types of episodes. What we're doing is going back in time and looking at an old chart and counting down what the top songs of the week were for that week. So we've decided to, for I guess the first episode we're going to do is go back to this week in 1983, so 40 years ago. The top songs, the top 50 songs this week in 1983, as far as the Canadian charts are concerned, because I can get to collectionscanada.ca, you can get the old RPM magazine charts. And I find these really fascinating to find out, you know, how some of these songs did, where they were in terms of, you know, were they going up or down, were they peaking? And I've always been fascinated by the charts anyway, and I think Sarah, you have too. We both grew up listening
to talk about
countdowns.
We both grew up. Well, I know I did, listening to the radio a lot in my family's household. Very much consumers of pop music, so a lot of these, I think, typically by the time we get to the top 20, I'm quite familiar. But some of them in the top 50, perhaps not so much, unless they went on to be like a top 20, for example.
Yeah, and honestly, some of these in the chart, I've never heard either. Some of them I've never even heard of.
No, and as I look, like, some of the artists I'm familiar with, but maybe not the song.
Oh, yeah.
And some I have no idea, so I'll be looking it up on my phone, probably, some of them.
So this should be fun. So this is July 16th, 1983, closest we could come, and we're going to count down what the top 50 songs in Canada were. I just want to say also, another thing that's interesting about this, when there's songs that neither of us know. This is, so MTV at this point had been on the air in the US for a couple of years. This is about a year before Much Music came to Canada, and it's 2 years before Much Music came to like our neck of the woods.
Right, but did video hits exist at this point?
Video hits would have existed on CBC.
So you should probably explain what that is. It was like a half hour.
It was a half-hour program on the CBC, just playing popular videos, probably five, maybe 6 if they were short, because you have to. It was a half-hour show with commercials.
And I don't recall the criteria. Like,
I don't know. It wasn't a countdown.
No.
Sometimes they'd have interviews. I do know that. So then you'd get more than one by the same artist.
Okay.
But it was hosted by Samantha Taylor was the first host. Then it was a guy named Brian Elliott, and I think Dan Gallagher, the late Dan Gallagher, also hosted. He was also a Much Music VJ too. So yeah, that was an early one. There used to be one on CTV, well, ATV in Atlantic Canada, same company. I think it was called the Hot 30. That was on Saturday nights. That was an hour-long video show. And,
I don't know that I remember that, but I do remember video hits.
But pre-Much Music, you were aware that videos existed, but there was nowhere that played videos 24 hours a day until the video networks came on the air. So I think that explains why some of these are still a little bit unknown. So let's get going. This week, top songs on this week in 1983. Actually, before we get started, so this is July 1983. What would young Sarah have been up to July of 1983?
I don't recall exactly. I would have been starting grade 1 that fall, so it would have been the summer before I started.
I would have been in between grades 3 and 4.
Okay.
I don't know if the carnival would have come to town yet, or what we call Old Home Week, which used to be almost as exciting as Christmas. I don't know why, but it was summer vacation. One thing for sure, it was summer vacation.
For you.
Yeah.
I don't know that we would have participated in carnival when I was that age, but anyway, carry on.
So there you go. So Sarah, I'll let you start off with the number 50 song this week in 1983.
So I'm looking at Tim's laptop screen. It's Def Leppard, Rock of Ages, which I think probably most of us are familiar with. Now, to be fair, I wouldn't have known it at the time. I don't believe.
Nor would I.
No? Okay. So,
I think I would have known Photograph, but that's
no, I don't think I even would have known
but
that.
that's it. I wouldn't have known Rock of Ages yet. And new this week. Number 49, also debuting, is Jackson Browne with Lawyers in Love.
Now, I do know this one. I don't know that I would have known it at the time, but it's one of his that I quite enjoy. That's not, like, as far as pop music goes, and kind of a catchy little tune, if you will.
So, next up for you, number 48.
Oh, the FIXX, Saved by Zero. And am I reading it correctly that it's the third week in the...
Yeah, third week in the chart, and it would be holding this week.
Right.
Holding this week at number 48, the way the Casey Kasem or Rick Dees would have said it. Yeah, lesser known song by the FIXX. Obviously, they're best known for One Thing Leads to Another. But I do know this song. Seems to me it was used in a laundry detergent commercial because I think it was a cold water wash, so it could be 0 degrees. I think that was the whole idea, Saved by Zero. Yeah, so number 47, now we're going to get to the first one here that someone out there might know. I don't know the group or the song. It's Canadian because it's got the MAPL symbol. Brand new at 47, Prototype, and the song is called Video Kids. I do not know this song.
I do not know it either. I could look it up, but...
Next up, we definitely know this one. 46.
Michael Sembello, Maniac. Of course, we do know this one. And this is the second week in the countdown, correct?
Yeah.
So it's up 1.
Of course, this is one we know would go on to become a... I don't know if it hit number 1, but you know, it's an 80s staple, right?
It lives on.
Yeah.
As a... Well, it's Flashdance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do the dance.
The two big songs from that movie. Number 45, Holding, is Thomas Dolby with Europa and the Pirate Twins. Now, I know this title, but I can't think of how this song goes. Of course, Thomas Dolby, She Blinded Me with Science. I believe this is from the same album, The Golden Age of Wireless, and the chart that we're looking at. And you can look this up if anyone's curious. This is not something that's unique. Just go to collections.ca, RPM, and it'll take you to the RPM charts. So, yeah. So that's number 45 this week.
Number 44, we have Prince, 1999. And it's up from 50. So it was climbing pretty quickly, I would say. This is its second week in the chart, and I think most of us probably know that. I know Tim knows the entire intro. Isn't it this one? The Dearly Beloved?
No, that's Let's Go Crazy.
Let's Go Crazy.
Yeah, but 1999 is a great song.
Yeah,
biggest jump of the week, up 6. Number 43, here's another one I didn't know. Maybe someone out there does. The song, it's a title that's been used a few times, Midnight Blue, and the artist's name is Louise Tucker. Now, my first thought was like, okay, well, maybe this is country and maybe she's related to Tanya Tucker, but no. She's an Irish opera singer, and this was her biggest pop hit. It missed the... I had to look it up. I'd never heard of her. Is this it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's very 80s.
It almost sounds like Sweet Dreams. Well, now it doesn't.
Very synth.
Yeah.
No idea.
And Gordon's never heard of it either. Wow. Yeah, so I had to look that up. This song missed the top 40 in the States, but it went all the way to number 7 here in Canada. So there you go.
That's interesting. I have never heard of the artist.
Here we go.
So I do know this one. This is The Border by America at number 42, up from 47, so in its third week.
This is a little bit of late period yacht rock here. Yeah. Number 41, not familiar with this song.
Artist, yes.
Yeah, Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Song is called War Games, and this week it's up from 46 to 41. I do not know this. I'm not familiar with this song.
No, I'm not either. Number 40, we have Doug and the Slugs, Making It Work. Which is like a staple for Canadian radio, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, Doug and the Slugs, I always kind of for a quick comparison, they were one of those groups that were quite well known in Canada and had 3 or 4 radio hits. This was one of the bigger ones. They're kind of like the Canadian Huey Lewis and the News. They were sort of like a pub rock band. This week it's down 5 from 35 to 40. Number 39, holding at 39 this week, one of the original Canadian punk bands. Now, they were originally called Teenage Head. They called themselves Teenage Heads at this point. I think a little less controversial. And looks like the title song from their album, Tornado. Now, I'm not familiar with this song. I know their song Let's Shake, but anyway, that's where this song landed this week, number 39.
It's not even coming up on my Apple Music. The band. Interesting. Number 38, the Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. Up from 43 in its fourth week.
Yeah, of course.
On the countdown, and of course.
Yeah, we know this one's going to end up, you know, probably going all the way to the top.
And I do recall this video on Video Hits. This has like a seared in my brain, like my childhood brain.
Yeah, Annie Lennox in the war room and with the orange, well, really, really red hair. And Dave Stewart, doesn't he have like a cello or something?
I think
like
so.
Yeah.
Between this one and then the other one that got played a lot was
Here Comes the Rain.
Here Comes the Rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 37, this one is holding as well. Australia's Little River Band with We Too. Don't know this song.
No, I don't either.
From an album called The Net. That's another thing I like about, look at Gordon.
Oh,
Gordon is sitting, he's going to break it. It's going to break. He's going to break it. Go ahead and tell the folks about the next song. There it goes. Okay, all right, number 36.
You're okay?
Yeah.
Is this QUARTERFLASH?
Yeah.
Take Me to Heart. And it's 36 up from 42. I don't know if I know that one, Tim.
This is a catchy one. This is like probably their second best known song after, it just went out of my head. Hard in My Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very 80s, very catchy. It's a typical, you would hear the song and go, this is probably 1983. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, next one is interesting. Number 35, this one is up from number 41. It was a reunion album, I believe, for the Hollies, which is interesting because we just had Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and now I believe Graham Nash was in this incarnation of the Hollies, and a cover of Stop in the Name of Love, which, number 35 this week.
Now I had the Hollies' Greatest Hits by them.
That would have been
You
way
didn't find
before this.
Oh, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. This was like a later period.
Yeah, I can't say that I know this one. We at 34.
34, yeah.
Madness, Our House, and that is going down. Is that right?
Yeah,
it was 31
down from
last
31.
week.
This one probably, I mean, I could go back. This one probably charted pretty high. Most people know this song.
But this was only its 8th week. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, maybe that's, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Some of these songs we know, when you look at the chart position,
Maybe
they
it didn't
didn't
peak
chart
as
that high, but I certainly remember this song. I believe this was a Mini Pops. I believe this was a song that was on one of the Mini Pops albums. People can look those up. I think there are still, I think it's called Mini Pops Kids now, or Kids Bop, when they have kids sing popular songs. But I think I heard that version before I heard the actual version from Madness. Number 33, classic British band from Sheffield, England, not Def Leppard. The Human League with Keep Feeling Fascination. I think people know that song.
I know that
It's
one.
got the very classic synth hook and it's got that part. That one's up from 38 to 33 this week. Here we go.
So at 32, It's a Mistake by Men at Work. And this is in its fourth week. And I don't know where it went on to rank, but I do know this one very well.
I think it's top 10. Great.
Makes sense. It was a great album.
They had great, catchy songs.
They really did.
Yeah. Number 31, up one, and I have to think that it climbed higher than that, or at least did in the States. Sergio Mendes, I'm never gonna let you go. It's not Michael McDonald. It's a song
just put a spin
I just
on
put
it.
a little Michael McDonald on it. Joe Pizzullo, and I can never remember the woman's name that he sings with. We have to look it up every time. I'm sorry, I can never remember it. But yeah, if you don't think you know the song. Rick Beato actually did an episode on this. He called it one of the most complicated pop songs ever, and watching him play, like the chord changes are all over the place. So it sounds just like an adult contemporary ballad, but it's really complex, which is kind of interesting.
Interesting, for sure. We're at number 30.
Yeah.
Electric Light Orchestra, Rock and Roll is King, up from 44.
Big
so that's
jump.
a big jump.
Big jump, yeah.
I don't know that song, so I'm gonna. Okay. Does it go on to be? Do you recall?
It's not a huge hit for them, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Maybe it was bigger in Canada. Speaking of Canada, Canada only here. Number 29, Up from 40, a big jump for this one. Toronto, the band Toronto with Girls Night Out. Now, this song, if you...
Sorry, Tim.
This is basically, their biggest hit was called Your Daddy Don't Know. This is them trying to rewrite it.
So this is better than the other one?
Yeah, this is like the next year. I don't say rewrite it, but it's very similar. Dun, 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 dun,
yep.
Dun, dun, dun.
The beat, everything is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a girl's night out. Your daddy don't know.
Similar.
It's fun.
It is
fun.
fun.
Number 28.
We have...
Down from 22.
In its 12th week.
Yeah.
Bryan Adams, Straight from the Heart, which I think probably most of us do know.
Cuts Like a Knife. I don't know how high it got in Canada, but this was his first top 10 single in the States. It peaked at number 10.
Okay.
Number 27, down from 23, Rick Springfield and Affair of the Heart from his album Living in Oz. And this is 13 weeks in the chart. I mean, yeah, it's funny. We've talked about this. Rick Springfield, like some people sometimes think of him as a one-hit wonder because of Jesse's Girl, but he actually had quite a few big hits in the States.
I do not know this one.
Me neither.
I'm practically squinting to see it. My visions are quite good. But at number 26, Men's Room.
Yeah, what a weird...
Sign of the Times, and it looks to be CanCon. But
CanCon, but not... Okay, not for music and lyrics. So the artist is Canadian. It was produced in Canada. Down from 18, so it was a top 20 single. Terrible name for a group, in my opinion. Men's Room. Who's going to go to... Anyway, Sign of the Times.
Sounds smelly.
Yeah, I don't know this. This is one I do not know. Which is odd, but...
Okay.
Number 25. Here's something from Sarah's CD collection. A band that caught on in Canada right from the beginning, but not in the States, not till the next album. So from the debut album, From Tears for Fears, The Hurting, the song is Change, and this week it's up from 30 to 25. Yeah, Change, Mad World, and Pale Shelter were all singles from that first album, but it wasn't until Shout and Everybody Wants to Rule the World that the United States seemed to take notice.
24, Daryl Hall and John Oates, Italian Girls. I don't know this one.
I don't know this song. Certainly no Hall & Oates, and they had a ton of, like...
It was holding at 24.
Yeah.
Looks like it had been around for a while in the charts for 9 weeks at this point.
Yeah. It's from their album H2O, which had, I think, Maneater, One on One.
Would this have been one of the later
This
singles
was probably one of the later singles. I don't remember a video for it. There could very well be. Number 23, up from 27, Sir Rod Stewart and Baby Jane, which I cannot think of how the song goes.
No, I have nothing to add to that either, because I really don't know.
No.
22, sorry. It was 26 last week, so it's on its way up. Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart. I think most of us, if you're familiar with 80s music, you definitely know this one. We like this one to sing to Stella. Turn Around.
She does her sad, forlorn look back. She sleeps on the end of our bed.
When we tell her to go to bed and stop looking.
She masters. It's either the Turn Around or it's the Take a Look at Me Now. It's
both pathetic.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Number 21, a lesser known song from STYX, Don't Let It End, down 5 from 16. This is a really poppy, mid-tempo, ballady type of song from their album Kilroy Was Here. The big song off of this one was Mr. Roboto, so this would have been a later single. And this would have been the last STYX album for about 7 years.
Okay. Yeah. Number 20, Flock of Seagulls, Wishing, If I Had a Photograph of You. This is down from 12?
Yeah.
I don't know this one.
This is a lesser known one. I can't really think of how all I can think of is the keyboard hook. Where it's sort of like dun 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 dun, like that's.
Well, it makes sense that there was a keyboard hook.
That's the hook that I remember, but I can't quite remember how it goes.
No.
Number 19 was actually I'd say her biggest hit of the 80s for sure. I mean, she pretty much ruled the mid to late 70s, the Queen of Disco.
I'd say the early 80s, maybe too.
Yeah.
She Works Hard for the Money.
Yeah, Donna Summer, up from 25 to 19. So this was like a late period hit for her, but it was a big, big hit. And this is one of the examples I always think of. Again, we're talking about music videos where everybody just busts out dancing.
It's fun. It's what made the 80s music videos so fun.
Because the Janet Jackson did that, and like Lionel Richie, and
I don't know that I realized like that some of the later ones would have been like a callback probably to this one by Donna Summer.
Yeah, I don't know. And if we were to do our research, we might find that they were all directed by the same. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm not sure about that, but yeah.
Interesting. Number 18, Culture Club, Time, Clock of the Heart. This is from, is it Kissing to Be Clever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down from
Great
11.
song. Is this the same album though that like?
This had Karma Chameleon.
Right.
I think.
Which
and
I vividly recall the video.
Miss Me Blind might be on that one.
They
My sister had this cassette, I think.
They really, in this period of time, were everywhere.
Sorry, we're just... Gordon is so bad. We love him. Speaking of big albums, I mean, it doesn't get any bigger in any era. Just so happens this week at number 17, down from 8, is Michael Jackson and Beat It. And I love the story. I appreciate it even more what went into recording this song. If you want to see a really in-depth interview, go to Rick Beato's channel or the Sunset Sound Studios channel. Both had Steve Lukather from Toto on talking about basically reconstructing the song and putting it back together after Eddie Van Halen had put that iconic guitar solo on it. But anyway, I mean, what I don't know what more I can say about Beat It, but there it is. This week happens to be down to number 17, down from 8, probably all the way to number 1. I can't imagine it being any different in Canada.
So at number 16, we have Stevie Nicks, Stand Back, and this is a good one from her. It's from the album The Wild Heart, and I just looked it up so that I could.
That's her second solo album.
Visual.
Yeah, this album also contained If Anyone Falls.
Which you said, because we heard that the other night, and you weren't as familiar with that as
Stand Back is the big song. Like, Stand Back is probably, well, most people would say
era?
Edge of 17, but Edge of 17 only peaked at like 17 or 18. It wasn't that big a song, but everybody knows it. But Stand Back, I think, went all the way to number 5, and we found it in later years that Prince had a lot to do with this song, we didn't know that then.
Man was a genius.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Number 15, this was the first hit single from one of, like, I believe the first bands that Maurice Starr ever assembled, and they went on to become a very, very well-known band. New Edition and Candy Girl, which, if I recall correctly, yeah, it's really, really high vocally. It sounds kind of like ABC to me.
A little bit.
Candy Girl, like, yeah. So yeah, it's Bobby Brown and, you know, who would become Belle Biv DeVoe and all of that. And yeah, that was an early single. For this, interestingly...
Well, more than that, they all had kind of a spin-off, like between Belle Biv DeVoe, Bobby Brown, Ralph Tresvant.
Well, I think he replaced Bobby Brown, I think, how that goes.
Sir Johnny Gill?
Johnny Gill. No, it's Johnny Gill that replaced the Bobby Brown. But yeah, it was a successful franchise.
It goes on to be like a who's who, like for early 90s.
Early 90s R&B.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Here's another one I don't know, number 14.
No, I had to look this up, so we're at 14?
Yeah.
And this is up from 17, so Heartache Avenue by the Maisonettes, and I had looked this up, and they were British, and it was a one-hit wonder. But I think that there was some, I don't know, like lip syncing going on, like an early kind of Milli Vanilli situation, maybe.
Also interesting. I'm you know, when you don't know about something, I'm just kind of looking to see if I can pick things up from what's there. The album's called Maisonettes for Sale, and they were on RSO Records, which was, of course, was the big disco label because they had the Bee Gees. Obviously, they had Andy Gibb. The Grease soundtrack. But by 1983, RSO was kind of absorbed into Mercury Polygram. So the fact that this still came out on an RSO is kind of interesting to me. But yeah, I don't know how this did in the States. It may have been a case where like a British single does well in Canada, but not in the States. I'm not familiar with it unless...
I pulled it up to listen to it, and I didn't recognize it myself.
So here's something else from your collection. At number 13.
So this is a best of, though. This is a...
Yeah.
So obviously it's Duran Duran.
Big jump on this one, number 13, up from 21 this week. Is There Something I Should Know? This song, is on the reissued version of their debut, which originally came out in 1981. Then, of course, 82 they had Rio, which was huge. So Capitol Records reissued the debut with a slightly different cover, and they added, I think they might have taken a song away, but they added Is There Something I Should Know, and it was yet another big song. And it's, you know, typical Duran. I mean, it's one of the big songs, right?
Yeah.
And big songs and videos, but it's kind of weird how it doesn't actually belong to, it belongs to the first album, but if you listen to it, it doesn't sound anything like Girls on Film or Planet Earth or the early stuff. Just in 2 years. This is what's interesting about the 80s when recording technology was advancing so quickly. 2 years could make a huge difference. Okay, number 12. This one's courtesy of Marley's music collection.
Well, and I'm assuming there's two on here. There is.
There is,
okay,
yeah.
So
Don't put that away too quickly.
No, no kidding. So this is David Bowie and China Girl off of Let's Dance.
Yeah, this was a huge comeback album for him. I think it's his single best-selling album worldwide.
Makes sense given some of the songs that I see on here.
Yeah, introduced the world to Stevie Ray Vaughan, who played the guitar on here.
Okay.
And of course, this contains the iconic line, just you shut your mouth. And she said, shh. Number 11. Okay, time for some good old classic Canadian rock. Band I had the pleasure of seeing earlier this year.
Are we there?
Wait. Yeah, we're there. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
It's in between. So number 11 up from 15 is Loverboy from their third album, Keep It Up, and Hot Girls in Love. This is one of their delightfully silly videos. Mike Reno himself, when they received their Juno Lifetime Achievement Award, he thanked MTV and Much Music for, quote, playing our silly videos. This one, it takes place, they're playing amongst a bunch of old gas pumps, and there's a girl walking around, and yeah, it doesn't have to make a lot of sense. So that's number 11 now. So we're entering the top 10.
So we're back to David Bowie again at number 10, and this is down from number 7, and it's 17th on the charts. So this is Let's Dance.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Title song from his comeback album. Yeah. Number 9. This was a big comeback song too. One of the original British Invasion bands, the KINKS, up 1 this week to number 9 with "Come Dancing." Big song.
Number 8, up 1 from number 9, Too Shy, KAJAGOOGOO. I mean, it's 80s.
Yeah.
We know it.
And, singer, what was his first name? Not Mark.
Oh, I have no idea.
His last name's Hamill.
Interesting.
Anyway, he took Hamill and rearranged the letters to become Lamal, and 2 years later had a big hit with Never Ending Story. So there you go. But what is his actual name? I cannot think of his. All I think of is Mark Hamill. That's obviously not it. Number 7, we are back in Thriller territory, jumping up into the top 10 for number 13. The opening track from Thriller, Michael Jackson and "Wanna Be Starting Something."
And it's so good. I mean, what can you say? Like from this era, it's
now we're nothing but all-time classics here at this point, right?
So number 6, Taco, Puttin' on the Ritz. And I mean, I know most of the words to this song.
What I like about this song is you can sing it without moving your mouth. If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, like you can or you don't have to move your teeth. Dressed up like a $1 million
trooper. It's freaky.
It was a cover of a very, very old song, like an Irving Berlin song, one of the 30s or something like that.
I think so. It's fun.
Yeah.
Well,
gotta dance. Number 5 is Billy Idol with White Wedding. I can't do the sneer. White Wedding.
I love this song.
And interestingly, I guess maybe because he was British, this song, you'd think of it as being a top 5 single. I think in the US it peaked at 36, which is crazy because
I didn't know that.
It's one of the first songs you think of when you think of Billy Idol. But yeah, number 5, holding at number 5 this week.
Interesting. Number 4, Eddie Grant, Electric Avenue.
Yeah, down from number 2. I mean, this was his biggest, international
Would it have
hit.
peaked at 2 in Canada?
Wouldn't surprise me if it went to number 1, but I'm not sure. One of the only songs that, one of the only big hit songs that, people can list where it's one note all the way through. It's just a constant A note. It never changes. Like everything goes around that. And I think someone said, you know, you can't write a song with one chord. And he said, watch
Sure
me.
can.
Yeah. If you dress it up enough. Okay, number 3, Holding It 3, probably hit number 1. I don't know. Typically, I've always found that when a song peaks, it usually doesn't go any higher, but sometimes it does. Of course, it's Flashdance, What a Feeling from Irene Cara. It's the theme from Flashdance. I mean, you know.
I'm assuming it was a number 1 in Canada as well.
Yeah, probably.
Most likely.
All right, number 2. We each have something for this.
Oh. Well, this is mine, of course. It's Greatest Hits.
Yeah.
So it's The Police, Every Breath You Take, and it was a number 1.
Yeah, from Synchronicity, and yeah, it was number 1 the week before. And I mean, what more can you say about Every Breath You Take? I mean, it's a song that will outlive us all, right?
Oh, I'm sure it will. Yes.
What did I read? It that one song accounts for I don't know what percentage of Sting's like annual earnings. Like,
We probably don't want to know. I enjoy hearing those kind of stats just because it's fascinating, especially when it comes to like the Christmas hits too.
Yeah, like Paul McCartney, Wonderful Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 1, big jump up from 6 the previous week. Usually you don't get a big jump into the, you know, usually like that. But
It's
it's
been on the countdown for 10 weeks.
yeah. This was actually the first really big hit in the 1980s for Sir Elton John. I'm Still Standing. I mean, this was a huge comeback song for him. He hadn't had a really big single, I don't think, in maybe 5 or 6 years. He'd had lots of mid-chart singles.
Consistently on the countdown, though. That's one thing about Elton John.
Yeah, for I don't know how many years he had a top 40 hit. But yeah, this this one, or I'd say maybe Sad Songs were his biggest songs from the 80s. I know Candle in the Wind, but I mean that was a re-recording of a song from the early 70s. So I mean, it was a well-known video, and the video was parodied many times. So yeah, it was a good time to be Elton John.
Yes, it was.
At least professionally. I don't think he was doing so good personally, but there you go. That was the top 50 songs in Canada this week in 1983. And aside from a handful of Canadian tracks that are sort of like strictly Canadian, I think most of these songs, most of these artists were probably fairly well known. I mean, you know, as far as Canadians, I think, you know, Bryan Adams and Loverboy did really well in the States, obviously. But yeah, I think it's interesting to see where these songs were you know, making, because not every classic song was a number 1 song. Doesn't mean that they weren't well known. So I want to thank Sarah for sitting in with me. This was a lot of fun. We're going to be doing some more of these for sure. And I hope you like it. Let us know, what are your memories of this time period? Do any of these songs bring back anything in particular? It's interesting how some of these songs are perennials and some of them aren't. It's just interesting how some of them, you need only mention the title and instantly you're hearing the song in your head. Some of them you don't know at all. Some of them you have to listen to and you go, oh yeah, I think I remember that. So there you go. Hope you liked it. Thanks for watching Tim's Vinyl Confessions.